Welcome. Today we are diving into a fundamental concept in statistics, the normal approximation for proportions. Specifically, we will understand when it is safe to assume that a sample proportion, p-hat, follows a normal distribution. This relies on the critical success-failure condition, np greater than or equal to 10, and n times 1 minus p greater than or equal to 10. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a sample proportion? It is denoted by the symbol p-hat. It represents the fraction of individuals in a sample that share a certain characteristic. To calculate it, you simply divide x, the number of successes, by n, the total sample size. For instance, if you flip a coin 100 times and get 40 heads, your sample proportion of heads is 0.4. Now, imagine you didn't just take one sample, but took thousands of different random samples from the same population. Each sample would give you a slightly different p-hat value. If you plotted all these different p-hat values on a graph, you would create what we call a sampling distribution. This distribution shows us how the sample proportion behaves over many repetitions. Here is the powerful part. Under the right conditions, this sampling distribution forms a bell curve or a normal distribution. This is fantastic news because the normal model is well understood. It allows us to calculate probabilities easily using standard tables or software, rather than dealing with complex binomial calculations for large numbers. However, we cannot simply assume the distribution is normal. We must meet the success-failure condition. This rule states that we need to expect at least 10 successes and at least 10 failures in our sample. Mathematically, this means np must be at least 10, and n times 1 minus p must also be at least 10. If either of these is less than 10, the approximation fails. Why is the number 10 so important? Look at the difference. On the left, if the sample size is too small, the distribution is skewed. It leans to one side and doesn't look like a bell. On the right, when we meet the condition of at least 10 successes and failures, the distribution becomes symmetric and bell-shaped. This symmetry is what allows the normal model to work accurately. To use the normal model, we need two numbers, the center and the spread. The center, or mean, of the sampling distribution is simply the true population proportion. P, the spread, or standard error, is calculated by taking the square root of p times 1 minus p, divided by the sample size, and these formulas define the specific bell curve for our data. Once we have the mean and standard error, we can calculate a z-score. The z-score tells us how far our sample result is from the expected population proportion, measured in standard deviations. The formula is, take your sample proportion p-hat, subtract the true proportion p, and divide by the standard error. This standardizes our result. Let's apply this to a real scenario. A manufacturer claims 90% of their orders arrive on time. You are skeptical, so you check a random sample of 100 orders and find that only 86% arrived on time. We want to know, if the manufacturer is telling the truth, what is the probability of getting a result of 0.86 or lower just by random chance? Before we calculate probability, we must check our conditions. Is the sample size large enough? We calculate NP. 100 times 0.9 is 90. That is greater than 10. Next, we check failures. 100 times 0.1 is 10. That is exactly 10. Since both are at least 10, the condition is met, and we proceed with the normal approximation. Now we calculate. The standard error is approximately 0.03. Our z-score comes out to negative 1.33. This means our sample of 0.86 is 1.33 standard deviations below the mean. Looking this up on a z-table or calculator, the area to the left is about 0.0918. So, there is roughly a 9% chance of seeing such a low on-time rate if the company's claim were true. To wrap up, remember these key points. Sample proportions vary, but they follow a predictable pattern. We can model this pattern with a normal distribution, but only if we verify the success-failure condition. NP and N, 1p, must both be at least 10. When these conditions are met, we can use z-scores to solve probability problems efficiently.
If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.